Alright guys, welcome back to VALORANT News with Champions just a couple of days away. Further pros have backed up TenZ's claim on his frustrations with the state of the PCs going into the biggest and most prestigious event of the entire year. TenZ has a big platform. He made the comments yesterday on the state of the PCs and his frustrations, basically calling out Riot Games. Now other pros have got into the situation as well. We've got Safe from Vitality, we've got Gen.G Fishy from Heretics, also jumping on the bandwagon. Very much intrigued to your thoughts in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always, I would greatly appreciate it. First of all, this pretty interesting from Gen.G. Makes obviously a lot of sense. They won Masters Shanghai. Their head coach has seemingly extended his contract with the organization. So obviously we'll see how Gen.G do at the World Championship in Seoul. And they will hope to do very well indeed. But there's no doubt that he's done a good job with the way this roster has trended. Quickly on Scream from Team Liquid. They literally say, Scream, Team Liquid tomorrow. Now, look, if they do bring him back, which they probably will based on this evidence, I don't know, I guess we'll see. It's very unlikely that he's going to be as a player. The belief is that if Scream is going to come back at this point, and they've been teasing it for a little while, it's probably going to be as a content creator, right? Kind of like they did with Sliggy, I suppose. So yeah, we'll see if that happens for Scream. Their actual roster, according to Rocket Bullets, is meant to look something like this. There's now some increasing likelihood around Keiko, obviously, you know, Nats and Mystic and everyone like that. But the latest rumor is similar to what we saw yesterday with supposed trials for Angel, for Artis, and for Narrate. So very interesting to see, because we saw the Angel Artist rumors, but the Narrate rumors are actually quite fascinating, right? After what happened with Carmine Corp this season, Narrate to Liquid, I guess stay tuned for that, because that was a trial that was supposedly going down over the last couple of days. Let's talk challenges as well. Big results yesterday in the North American side to determine which teams are going to go through to Ascension. M80 is going to be there again. So M80 get the 2-0 dub against Moist Shopify yesterday, and I think for Moist Shopify, this was a pretty underwhelming performance, right? Because the big drama around this team was the fact that they could have made changes a while ago. There's obviously been debate about Odorous and his individual play, whether frankly it's good enough. But honestly, Odorous has not even been, you know, their weakest player all the time. Flyer has been pretty underwhelming, I would say, for some time now, more so than I expected. But M80 are a bit too strong. Really happy for Net as well, based on his career, right? Qualifying up as he did last year through the guard. Off that team, now finds himself back on M80 with the chance to do it again. Xander, what a player he is. And yeah, 13-9 on the Lotus, and then 14-12 in the end on the Icebox on Shopify, or Moist Shopify's pick, in favour of M80. 14-12 in the end. Big map here from Xander, of course, as we can tell. There were some interesting comments here, actually, as well, from Strong, who's the positional coach of Vitality, confirming that they did trial Flyer last year as an option. So there was the possibility that Flyer could have actually ended up in the, you know, in the actual Pro League, right, in Tier 1. That never happens, though, but to be fair, Moist Shopify still have a chance to qualify. We'll see the bracket in a second. The team that is eliminated, however, is none other than Oxygen Esports. These guys, I thought, were going to be a serious contender for winning Ascension. At times, I thought they were going to be the strongest team, but it's not what happened last night. TSM take them down 2-0. What a result for TSM, by the way. You know, GMD poised 7, Simona Proto making this run. But yeah, the Verno, Scuba, Mitch Redux, Dapper team, I thought they were going to be good enough to at least qualify for Ascension, if not possibly win it. But unfortunately for Dapper, a real stinker yesterday. He hasn't been, you know, phenomenal this season by any means, especially given his kind of tenure and pedigree as a Valorant player. But in this one, when it really mattered, he had a really tough series, right? Here on the Sunset, 18-20, they lose 14-12, and then the buy-in was 13-10 in the end. Another rough map here for Dapper on the Deadlock. So, you know, I think honestly he's like save Verno and Scoop maybe at this point. Great players that I think deserve to be at Ascension, at least to try and qualify, but they fall short, they don't make it, and they end up top 4. So Oxygen bow out, M80 are through. This then is the big game today to determine which team gets to go as well to Ascension to try and make it through. You've got to think that MXS are going to be the slight favourites here, but maybe TSM can make it really competitive, right? So yeah, Oxygen are 4th. There's 2 teams that are going to advance. We'll see who those are in the relatively near future. And as Dapper says, embarrassing performance from us, and definitely, you know, for me individually, when a whole year was leading to this, no idea what the future holds. So wishing him the best, of course. But yeah, not ideal result, of course, for those guys yesterday. And as even Rossi says, we were the problem at Sub Rosa at Corey, but our lineup would be winning champs right now, believes Rosa in the replies. But let's talk about some of this PC related stuff. Champions is coming up in just a couple of days. Some of you guys didn't see yesterday, we saw saw from basically TenZ, the biggest personality in the space, talking about the state of the league and especially the state of the PCs they have to play on, not getting the frames they require, not being quite well equipped enough to actually handle Valorant, and I think crucially really, the other things they have to handle as well. As TenZ said yesterday, I never understood why they invest in such lower-end PCs, and TenZ basically says, like, I could fund out of my own bank account to get all the PCs they would require. Why can't Riot do it, themselves? Even if they are spending 4 or 5 grand a PC to make it work, at some point, Riot have to upgrade the PCs. It's not good public relations for them, really. All of this talk from the players about how they don't care about the scene and the players because they're not giving them the correct equipment. It's not a good look. They've got to upgrade them at some point. You might think, well, let's just upgrade them now. But also you've got to involve, they've got sponsors, the league, so they've got obligations there, what they can and cannot use, and some of these other factors. So TenZ called them out yesterday, and other pros have now jumped on the trend as well. So Safe here from Team Liquid, he says the following: I don't have a big platform like TenZ does, but for a world championship to have computers, this is pretty funny, that come in PDF format where the next page is where I kill the enemy is not the most optimal thing you would like to see at the most prestigious event of the year. So basically he's saying they lag, the frame rate isn't very good, and so many other issues as well. And then he actually specifies and says, to be specific, Ryzen 7 5800X, that's the CPU, the central processing unit, with a 3070, the GPU, the graphical processing unit. That's the, of course, NVIDIA RTX 3070 graphics card. Not sure if there's a slight bottleneck or if it's just not up to par with the standard equipment used in regional leagues, because he seems to say that the other equipment they use is fine, this one isn't. So exactly, it's interesting, right, because these specs are not bad at all, right? Like if you guys had a PC with these specs, I don't think you'd have any issues running Valorant. So my only, because the 5800X is considered to be a very, very impressive CPU for the price. The 3070 is obviously also a great graphics card. Now, it's not the strongest graphics card on the market, not the strongest graphics card that NVIDIA offer at all right now, but should be easily good enough. So that's the question, really, as to what else is going on here that causes this to not be good enough. So TenZ's point and the other players are saying, yeah, this isn't giving them the performance that they want, and, Safe says, even though my post won't change anything, I just think it's kind of whack since this has been voiced by so many times internally with no change. And as Soulcast says, sucks that it's the same PCs as last year. Meanwhile, NA has, these dual 4090 Titans with all of this stuff going on. So, basically they're saying that it ain't good enough what they're using here, and in America they've got much stronger PCs. So my feeling is there's got to be some sort of additional bottleneck here, whether it's like the recording stuff, which honestly may be part of it. Not only have they got to play the game, but they've also got to have all the other software installed and, record the games for streaming into outputs and these other factors. And with that in play, it probably does make sense that you may need the beefiest PCs possible to actually make this work. But I think the key frustration is, even if you might look at the specs and say, well, it doesn't look too bad, in addition to that, you've then got the players saying, well, the monitors aren't good enough. Benji Fishy says, we've got 240Hz instead of 360Hz monitors, which, I mean, look, you might think that's pretty marginal, maybe it is, but it's still not the best of the best for the most prestigious event of the year, and that's what the players are looking for, right? You never want to have any sort of questions on lag or frame rate or anything when it comes down to any sort of competitive setting, let alone the biggest event of the year, especially when the players have voiced this concern numerous times last year as well, and yet nothing has changed over the last 12 months. That definitely raises some questions as to exactly why they've not done anything about it or found a better solution to the situation that they currently find themselves in, especially when it's not like Riot don't make enough money to resolve this, right? I mean, Najot yesterday pulled up his total Valorant spending, and I think it was clearing 10k. I think he's got the numbers up here in a second, and yeah, it ain't looking great. Total spent $10,300, but even Leaf says, don't worry, Najot, I'm even worse than you. $10,874.90 for Leaf. So, Riot are raking in the cash. We all know this. So the players might say, look, maybe put a bit of money towards some upgraded specs on our PCs, and then we won't complain about it anymore. Because at this rate, they're going to complain about it every single year, and I think the complaints are going to be justified basically every single time as well. But very much interested to your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed. subscribe if you're new, take care, and I'll see you next time.
It's surprising Champs PCs are shit specs again. No, it's not surprising. Leo need to get on top of that shit, bro. Bro, all the PCs are almost always ass. I don't think I've been to a Riot event where the PCs were good. Only the Americas PCs are good. Didn't you tell Leo last year? Of course I told him last year. Leo, just like you, doesn't care. That's awesome, guy. That's awesome, dude. Didn't they put you guys on 240 Hz at LA Champs? Okay, so I'm gonna tell you guys. So from my understanding, okay, so there's a NA version of Riot, and then there's a global version of Riot. So these two things have different sponsors. For whatever reason, that's the case. So their sponsors in America's League and their sponsors in the Global League are like, the global ones suck for some reason. Like the America's ones are insane. You get 360 Hz, really good PCs, and then something went wrong in their negotiations or something, because we get like some weird shit in the global ones. Dude, we're getting a HyperX monitor. Like, I like HyperX, but like, when did anyone here know they had a monitor? Yeah, like,